Ben Hyde here for BCC Hardware, and today we're taking a look at the ZTE Grand X2 smartphone. This is ZTE's latest entry into the Grand X series, and this phone is definitely a worthy successor to the original. We reviewed the Grand X Plus a little while back, and it was actually, it really surprised me as far as the performance and the quality went to the device, and this one doesn't fail to disappoint either. There's a couple of little differences here you'll notice in the phone. Instead of having soft keys for forward or for back, home, and for multitask, your menu key, they actually do this with different just dots or a blue circle below the main screen. That, of course, as you can see, we've got quite a bit going on here right now, and this phone seems to handle it quite well. The hardware, the basic hardware behind this, as we look in CPU-Z, is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor. So this is a quad-core processor running at 1.21 gigahertz max. Most of the time it idles around 800 megahertz, as you can see there on the screen. The graphics are powered by an Adreno 306 processor, so slightly faster processor than the Grand X Plus in this Grand X2. So we just take a look through here. We also see that we do have comes with 2 gigs of RAM. It comes with about 16 gigs internal storage. After formatted, we're sitting there with about 11 available to us. But it also does support a micro SD card as well, so you can actually drop a 64 gig card in there for about 30 bucks and you're good to go. So keep in mind that this phone with a 5.7 inch screen is only a 720p screen, so it's not the highest resolution screen on the planet. We're looking at pixel density on this one. I believe it's just around 280 pixels per inch, somewhere in there, so it's not the highest density screen that you can get, but it's definitely not a bad screen. And of course the trade-off for that is you get better battery life with, of course, a lower resolution screen. So all the sensors and everything in that, I mean, it's definitely an adequate phone. As far as hardware goes, a few software tweaks that I've kind of come to like about ZTE products is the fact that you can go in here first of all and just take a look at things like your settings tray is actually a lot more comprehensive than a standard Nexus device, and yet it's not quite so cluttered up as a Samsung Galaxy device. And if you want to change anything, you can actually go into edit mode and actually change what you want displayed on your settings, your quick settings, which is very simple and easy to use. So I mean, settings on the phone are very intuitive. They're very, I mean, it's Android. This is Android. We'll pop actually into the settings and take a look. I believe this one is Android Lollipop, so the last phone, it made it as far when we had it, is Android 4.4.4. This phone here, we are looking at Android 5.1. So this is the Z850 to be more specific, and it's definitely a very adequate phone. It comes built in with Android, of course, some built-in printing options, and of course you can have all your Google accounts there. And the nice thing is, like we talked about, the navigation key, as far as those dots, you can actually there's some options there. You can actually, basically make it to right hand or the left-handed. If you want your recent apps on the left side as opposed to the right side, that's easily done here as well. So that's one thing that most phones don't allow you to do, is have a left-handed phone without a lot of other weird stuff going on. So another thing that one of my favorite things about ZTE phones is the fact that the hotspot is so much more robust than the average hotspot. Most hotspots you can allow it to change, whatever encryption you're using, or no encryption, and you're good to go. With this one, of course, you can actually choose the name, the channel, the password, your security. But even more than that, you can do things like you can actually manage the users. So you can actually decide how many max connections you want. You can allow devices based on allow all devices. You can actually have a specific device list, so only if you're sharing a hotspot at the airport, not everybody that can connect, even if it is open network, you can actually have specific devices connected, so that's kind of handy. Also, so that's just standard configuration. Then we get to the advanced configuration, where you've got, how long do you want your hotspot on? What's your IP address range, your subnet, DHCP, all this stuff that you expect in a full function router for basic settings, you can actually do in your mobile hotspot with the ZTE Grand X2. So that's kind of very unique. Again, one thing that ZTE does as far as the interface, it is very, very plain vanilla looking Google Android, which is, I like it, but just for scrolling screens, you've got some options with some animations there, and if you leave it random, you can see that there's, I don't know, it just kind of makes it a little bit more fun as you're changing from screen to screen. It kind of mixes it up. Sometimes it seems fairly repetitive, but then you've got inside box, you've got, page flip, you've got pop in. You've got a lot of interesting things here, just to kind of give it some eye candy, make it look a little different over top of just the standard vanilla Android. The camera settings on this device are actually quite robust. As far as the camera goes, you've got, well, I'm sure my wife will love that. You've got different things, different fun settings that you can do. You've got smile detection, multiple exposure, panorama, HDR. All that stuff is built in to the phone. Or you can just have, just standard, whatever you like. You can go automatic. You've actually got full manual controls, which is kind of almost a fading issue here in Android phones. They don't figure that people can actually know how to change settings automatic or how to do manual settings. So a lot of camera apps take that out, but ZTE's camera app is pretty nice that way. As far as other ZTE more specific apps that they've got different things like a full function file manager, which most of the time devices don't come with an actual robust file manager. If you want a file manager that's not ad supported, you have to go and download some sort of file manager from Google Play Store and pay for it. But this file manager is actually very, very decent and it works very well. It does come with this phone here in Canada is set up for Bell Mobility, so it comes with some of the Bell pre-installed stuff, like Bell TV, different things that if you're not a Bell user, that's not going to actually apply to you. But of course, this will be specific to the carrier that you actually sign up with. Even though this one is this model I'm using, the sample is a Bell device that actually comes unlocked. There's, of course, if you get this from a carrier, you are going to be dealing with a locked phone. So just keep that in mind. So while it is a Bell device, we actually are using it with a TELUS SIM card. One thing that I don't really like is the fact that they've included Wild Tangent games. Now that's a personal preference. I remember back in the day, Wild Tangent was like, it was the spyware, it was the crapware of the PC. But they've included that on here for whatever reason. No doubt Wild Tangent pays them some money in order to get their games on the device, so they've opted for that. But as far as, it's a solid device. One thing that it does do is Google Now cards. You can actually change the Google Now launcher, so basically this is going to become pretty much a full-on Nexus phone if you want it to be. It's pretty much vanilla Android. You can actually get Google Now. It does respond to OK Google. And there we go, just exactly. So it does all sorts of fun stuff there that maybe you've come to expect from your other flagship device, and it does it in this device with a Snapdragon 400 processor, and it does it for a fraction of the cost, and it does it really, really well. One thing that really impresses me about this device overall, though, is the fact that the battery is fantastic because we're running with a 720p screen, because we're running with a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz chip, because we're only powering 2 gigs of RAM. We actually get really incredible battery life with this device, where with other flagship devices that are running 2K screens, huge 6-inch plus screens, and then some, you're not getting that battery life. The battery in this beast is absolutely huge. it covers well over half of the back of the phone is battery, and of course you got your micro SD card as well as your micro SIM card. Not your nano, but your micro SIM card there. So you've got everything there that you need for most carriers, and a way to actually get in there and kind of clean your camera up a little bit, and it seems to work very, very well. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of the ZTE device. It actually continues to surprise me time and time again. ZTE continues to do well in a market that is dominated by Apple, by Motorola, by Samsung, and yet they offer a great device that won't break the bank. If you're looking for a ZTE device, make sure you check out the Grand X2, and you can check out the full review over at bcchardware.com, where we've got lots more stuff and camera samples and the whole nine, so make sure you check out that there. If you have any questions, feel free to comment and like this video, and we'll keep more coming your way. Once again, this has been Hyde for BCC Hardware, checking out the ZTE Grand X2.